Good morning and welcome to my Quizlet tutorial. Quizlet was my technology I chose to research. So when you go to Quizlet, you will have to make an account and then you'll see a homepage similar to mine. So if you've never used Quizlet, it is actually a learning tool in which creates study sets or flashcards that are virtual for students to study. So you go in here and you're going to hit create up at the top. This allows you to create a new study set. So you're going to want the title, maybe your unit you're studying, and then you'll put any terminology on here on the left, and then your definitions go here on the right. And you just keep typing until you figure out how many you need. And if you just hit enter or tab after the end, you'll get a new one, so you can make as many as you need. And then you'll just go down here and click create. And then you'll have your new study set. So if I go back to my home page, to my study sets, you can see I have created actually classes so that it's easier for me to get to. So I have a foods 1, 2, and 3 here. And then I'll click on foods 1. And I have a beverage study set in here. So if I go to my study sets, you see I have my terminology and my definitions for all of my beverages for my foods 1 students. So you can actually, if you're a student, you would see this screen, and you can rearrange them the original way I put them in, or you can go through alphabetical. If you click over here,
most popular tea in the U.S., black.
It actually speaks it for you. So if you were to have harder words, students could click on that and they'll hear it to remember what it is. So then you click on the top, you can do flashcards to be able to study. They have different ways to study. So here it says caffeine, and I just actually click right on it and it'll show you the back of it. And then down here at the bottom, you can click next and get to the next one. Same thing, you'll click. And you can even shuffle them if you don't like the order they're in, and you can restart. You go up to learn at the top. It's another method you can choose. So learn, it gives you the definition, and then you have to type the answer. And it will tell you how many you have remaining, and then how many you got wrong, and then how many you got correct. You can also, if you're doing a vocab test, it's really good for English, you can click on Speller, and it'll just say type what you hear. So it'll speak for you.
When making coffee, never blank.
And then you'll have to type exactly what you hear. So mine's not a very good example because I'm not doing spelling. But if you were to have spelling, then students could practice their spelling. You can also do a test. So students can come in here, and Quizlet is actually going to make a test for the students. So it's going to give a written section, it'll have matching, and multiple choice, and students can come in here, and even some true false. So it'll come in here and they can choose which answer, and then you can check your answer at the end. The cool option for teachers is you can actually print this test. So if you want to do a Quizlet study session and then make it a formative assessment to see how your students are doing, you could print it and then make it for your students. And my favorite tool to use, because my students have iPads, is the scatter. So it looks a little different on a computer screen than it does on an iPad. So on the computer, if I start the game, you just have to pull the item to the definition. So if I put the most popular tea in the US is black, it's going to disappear. So on an iPad, you just tap them, just kind of like memory, and then they'll disappear that way. So one thing that I like to do is I'll play this game and I'll get a high score, and then I'll challenge my students to go in and see if they can beat me, because at the end it'll tell you, oh, you're in second place on the high score list. So that's kind of a fun way. There's also a cool game called Gravity. Kind of cool for students that are very into video games. So if we play that, you can select your difficulty and start with the term, the definition. You can do random, and then it'll give you a little directions. So your asteroid is going to come at you, and it says the main ingredient used to decaffeinate coffee, and so I'll just type in water, and then it gets rid of the asteroid. So you just have to keep typing the definition. So we'll escape out of that. So back to the home screen, and we go to beverages. This is going to be the last thing I show you. It's a new feature for Quizlet, and it's pretty cool. So if you go into here, it's the live feature, and you can do this as a teacher. So here we are at the Quizlet Live screen, and it gives you a tutorial here on the left, and anything, he's going to explain it perfectly to you so you can do it in your classroom. But you just click on Create Game up here, and it's kind of similar to Kahoot, where they log on to the Quizlet.live website and they type in a code. They then have to put their name in, and Quizlet Live actually takes them and groups them differently than where they're sitting and doesn't really know, so it just groups them. So it allows students that don't usually talk to each other to interact with each other, and it puts them on a team. So then they have to move to their team, and then they work as a group to answer the definitions. And it actually is the first group that gets to 12 wins the game. And if you miss one, you go back to the start. So that was my tutorial on Quizlet, and I really love Quizlet. I use it for my classes all the time. I do it as a study guide for them. I tell them, here's the Quizlet, you can go home and study all you want, and it's really beneficial for them. They can play the games, they can study the flashcards, and they know I gave them all the key terms so they know exactly what to study. So it's an awesome tool for them to have, and it's a great tool to make as a teacher. So I really recommend Quizlet. Thank you.